Hello. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have lots of fun things planned for the weekend. My name is Miss Jenna, and I am a graduate student at the University of Cincinnati, and I am back today with another storybook reading. So, it is Friday, July 31st, 2020, and it is 8:30 a.m. So it's super early, but I'm excited to be back and to read you all another story. So today's book is a traditional story. You might have heard it before, but it is, wow, look at that title. Can you say that word? That's a long title. It is called Rumpelstiltskin. Have you ever read this book? I've read it a long time ago. Let's count how many letters are in this title. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are 15 letters in this title. Wow. So, this book is called Rumpelstiltskin, and it says Fairy Tale Classics. Usually there's a name on the front of the book, isn't there? The name of the author. But that's not a name. Fairy Tale Classics. Where can we find the author at? Let's look on the spine. Rumpelstiltskin. Landau. Maybe the author's last name is Landau? I don't know. And then the back says, generations of children have enjoyed the wonderful stories of fairy tales. So this story is a fairy tale. Beautiful illustrations. Do you remember what an illustration is? Yeah, it's the pictures. Beautiful illustrations and a delightfully retold story bring this classic tale to life once again. Committed to quality, Landau's is pleased to publish only the best in children's literature. Oh, so that answers our question. Landau's, like it said on the spine, is the publisher. Okay, so we still don't know who the author is. Where can we look to find it? It's not on the front, it's not on the spine, and it's not on the back. Where else can we look? Oh, look. It says this fairy tale classic series includes, so other fairy tales like this one that's in this series is The Three Little Pigs, Thumbelina, Puss in Boots, The Jungle Book, Rumpelstiltskin, Little Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast, and The Emperor's New Clothes. Wow. We have to find this author though, because the author's a person that writes the book, right? Let's open it up and see what we can find. Oh, look, there's a place to put whoever owns the book, their name. So it says, this book belongs to, and then you write your name. Oh, there's our title again, Rumpelstiltskin, with all 15 letters. Retold by Diane Stortz. Is that the author? It is. It's not the original fairy tale author because, like the back said, Rumpelstiltskin is a classic fairy tale. So it was made a long, long time ago. But this version is retold by the author Diane Stortz. Okay, here we go. Let's take the picture. Let's see what's going on here. Long ago, there lived a tailor who was known for his bragging. even about things that were not true. What does bragging mean? If you brag about something, it kind of means you're flaunting it, or if it's something that you're good at doing, instead of being humble, you show it off to the world because you want everyone to know how good you are at it, right? So the tailor was known for bragging even about things that were not true. So that also means he was lying. This man's talk got his beautiful young daughter into a great deal of trouble. The story would not have a happy ending at all if not for a faithful servant and a funny little man named, but that's what the story is about. What do you think his name is? If it's what the story is about, do you think it's that long 15-letter title? We'll see. One day the tailor happened to see the king riding through town. The man wanted to make himself seem important, so he called to the king, "I have a daughter who can spin straw into gold." The king stopped at once. "This is an art that pleases me," he said. The king was a greedy man who was never happy and always wanted more. "Bring your daughter to the castle tomorrow," the king told the tailor, "and I will put her to a test." Oh no! So it looks like this is the tailor, and this is the king riding his horse through town. So the tailor wanted to get the king's attention, so he bragged about something that was not true. And he said his daughter can spin straw into gold. Oh, man. Oh, let's look at this word first. It says the king was a greedy man. Do you know what the word greedy means? It kind of tells us after that. It says, who was never happy and always wanted more. So greedy means no matter how much you have, you always want more. You just can't be satisfied. The next day, the tailor took his beautiful daughter to the castle. Of course, she did not know how to spin straw into gold, but she was shown into the room filled with straw. The king gave her a spinning wheel and a spindle. "Now to work," he said. "If all of this straw isn't gold by morning, you will never see your father again." Then the king left and locked the door. Oh no. So the daughter's going to get in trouble. This is the tailor's daughter. She's going to get in trouble because her dad was, he liked to brag about things that weren't true. The poor girl sat down on the straw and began to cry. Then the door opened again, and a funny little man came into the room. This must be the funny little man that they were talking about, who we don't know his name yet, do we? So there's the daughter, and there's the greedy king, and there's all the straw in the background. "Good evening, dear girl," said the little man. "Why are you crying?" "I am supposed to spin straw into gold for the king," said the girl, "and I don't know how." "Oh, but I know how," said the little man. "What will you give me if I spin it for you?" "My necklace," said the girl. The little man took the necklace and sat down at the spinning wheel. In seconds, the first spool was full of golden thread. The tailor's daughter fell asleep. When the straw was turned to gold, the little man disappeared. Wow. So the little man, whose name we don't know, turned all the straw into gold thread. So now she's not in trouble anymore, right? I wonder what the king's gonna say. In the morning at sunrise, the king returned. When he saw the golden spools, he was pleased. But because he was greedy, he took the girl to a larger room filled with more straw. "Spin all of this straw into gold by the morning if you want to see your father again," said the king. Then he left and locked the door. Wow. So even though she made it happen with the help of the little man, and she finished the straw in the first room, he wanted more. So he sent her to a larger room with even more straw. And he did that because what was the word that we used to describe him? He was greedy. Yes, he always wanted more. Once again, the girl began to cry, and once again the door opened and in walked the funny little man. "What will you give me if I spin the straw into gold for you this time?" he asked. "The gold ring on my finger?" said the girl. The little man took the ring and began to work. By morning, all the straw was spun into gold. Oh, wow, so he came back to help her. So what did she offer him first? Do you remember? Let's go back and look. So the first time, he said, "What will you give me if I spin this for you?" And she said, "My necklace." You see it? You can see it just a little bit. It looks like a blue necklace, and it's matching her dress. So he took her necklace, and then he spun her the gold thread. And then this time, what did he take from her? So he took her necklace, her ring, right? Let's see. Yeah, she said, "The gold ring on my finger." So she gave him her gold ring. The king came at sunrise. "Wonderful, my dear," he cried, but the greedy king wanted still more. He locked the girl in an even bigger room full of straw and told her, "Spin all of this straw into gold tonight. If you do, you shall become my wife." Oh, wow. So, she's wearing a different dress. Do you think he's treating her better the more that she gives him? Yeah. If I were her and I met a greedy king like him who locked me in a room and forced me to make him gold, I wouldn't want to marry him. Nope. He does not seem very nice. When the king was gone, the little man came again. "What will you give me this time if I spin the straw into gold for you?" "I have nothing left to give you," the girl said sadly. "Then promise to give me your first child after you become queen," said the little man. The tailor's daughter did not believe the king would really marry her, so she promised the little man her first child. In the morning, the king found the room full of gold, and he married the tailor's daughter. Oh no! So now what? First, the little man took what from the girl? He took her necklace, right. And then he helped her again, and then what did he take from her? Her gold ring. Yep. So we got a necklace, a gold ring, and now what? She said, "I have nothing left to give you." Yes. He said, "Promise me to give me your first child after you become queen." Oh no, is he gonna take her baby? The next year, the queen gave birth to a beautiful child. She was happy and had forgotten the funny little man. But suddenly he appeared and said, "Now give me what you promised." The queen was horrified. She offered the little man all of the treasure of the kingdom instead. "No," said the little man. "Something living is more important than all the treasure in the world." Then the queen began to grieve and weep and could not be consoled. The little man began to feel sorry for her. "I will give you 3 days," he said. "If you can guess my name by the third day, you may keep your child." What do you think his name is? How could you guess it if you had no idea? I don't know. So look at the girl who's now the queen. And that's her baby. And there's the little man whose name we don't know. Look at her face. How is she feeling? She's probably feeling scared that she's going to lose her baby and sad and worried. And it says the queen was horrified. Wow. And it also says she began to grieve and weep, which means cry, and could not be consoled. So no one could make her feel better. Do you think she's going to figure out his name? Let's see. What would you do to figure out his name? If you were in the queen's spot and she had to figure out his name in 3 days, how would you do it? Let's see what she does. The queen spent the night making a list of every name she had ever known. Then she sent a servant out into the kingdom to make a list of names she had never heard before. When the little man appeared again that evening, the queen began to call out names one at a time. "Are you Tom? Dick? Harry?" she asked, but after every name the little man shook his head. "Are you Gaspar? Melchior? Balthazar?" The little man just smiled and said, "That's not my name." The next day the queen sent her servant out into the kingdom to search for unusual names, like ribs of beef, or mutton chops, or lace leg. But when the little man appeared that evening, he just shook his head and said again and again, "That's not my name." Oh no, she can't figure it out. Look at her face. How do you think she feels now? I think she is puzzled. She got a list of every name she had ever heard, and then she had another list of every name she had never heard before, and she still couldn't figure out his name. What does that usually mean about a name? If you've never heard it before, you've never seen it before, and then you have a list of all of the names that you've never heard and you still can't figure it out, it's probably a very rare name. And I think the little man knew that it was going to be difficult to figure out, and that's why he made the bet. He said, "If you can figure out my name in 3 days, you can keep your baby. But if not, it's mine." On the 3rd day, oh no, it's the last day, the queen was in despair. She sent her servant out into the kingdom one last time. When he came back, the servant said, "I climbed a high mountain where the fox and the hare say goodnight to each other at the edge of the forest. There I saw a small cottage, and in front of the cottage was a fire, and in front of the fire danced a funny little man. He hopped about on one leg singing, 'Today I'll brew, tomorrow I'll bake, soon I'll have the queen's namesake. Oh, how hard it is to play my game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name.'" He gave it away. Look, there he is in front of his cottage, in front of his fire in the forest, and he's dancing and singing his song. He got a little too confident that he was going to get the baby, didn't he? Because he said his name out loud. And look, hiding behind the tree, who is that? It's the queen's servant who went out to try to figure out his name. So let's see again what he said. And listen really close because some of these words rhyme. "Today I'll brew, tomorrow I'll bake. Soon I'll have the queen's namesake. Oh, how hard it is to play my game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name." So we have words that rhyme. Bake and namesake. Do you hear that? Ache, bake, namesake. Even though this word is much longer than this one, they still rhyme because they end with the same sound. And then there's game and name. Those rhyme too. They both have aim at the end. Game starts with the g, aim, and name starts with the name. So what do you think the servant's gonna do? He overheard him dancing and singing, and then he said his name. Is he gonna run back to the queen and tell her? When the queen heard this, she began to dance herself for joy. When the little man appeared that evening, she asked him, "Is your name Koontz?" "No," said the little man. "Is your name Heinz?" "No," said the little man. He began to reach for the queen's sleeping child. "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" asked the queen. Oh my goodness. She figured it out. Right whenever he went to go reach for the baby, she said on her third try, "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" How do you think the little man's going to react? Is he going to be happy? No, he's not going to be happy because he wanted to take the baby, right? So he's probably going to be very upset and frustrated. Look, it said the queen, when she heard this, so whenever her servant came back and told her what the little man's name was, she herself began to dance for joy. What does that mean? Have you ever danced for joy? Yeah, it's like when you're so excited, all of your emotions just build up and it just comes out and you have to dance. That's just how you let it out. So she was so happy and relieved because she was going to get to keep her baby. Okay, so after she guessed, she said, "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" asked the queen. "Who told you? Who told you?" howled the little man. He jumped around, screeching and stomping his feet so hard that he stomped right through the floor and disappeared. And that was the last time anyone ever saw Rumpelstiltskin. Look at him. How do you think he's feeling? So it said, he asked, "Who told you?" Howled the man. Wow. How can you howl a question? What does that mean? Yeah, it means that he raised his voice almost like a howling wolf to yell and say, "Who told you?" And it also said he jumped around screeching and stomping. If someone's jumping around and their face looks like this and their eyebrows are furrowed and they're yelling, that usually means they're pretty mad, right? Even if he didn't say anything and you saw him jumping and stomping around and waving his arms and he had an angry face, those are some nonverbal cues, so he doesn't even have to say anything and you can tell that he is angry. So that he stomped his feet so hard that he went right through the floor and disappeared, and no one ever saw him again. And that's it. There were a lot of tricky characters in that story, weren't there? So we had the tailor, and what did he do that wasn't so good? Remember in the beginning it said that he was the type of man who, what did he do? There were actually two things that he did. He bragged and he lied. So he bragged about things that weren't always true. So what did he brag about to the king when he saw him riding his horse through town? Do you remember in the very beginning of the story? Yeah, the tailor went up to the king and yelled, "My daughter can spin straw into," what was it? Gold. Yes. Even though he knew his daughter did not know how to do that. So the little tailor man was a bragging man, and he was a lying man. Those are not good qualities to have. And then the next guy, the king, what type of king was he? Do you remember? There was a word that they used to describe him. And I'll give you a hint. It means that he was never satisfied and he always wanted more. So even though he was the king and he had all the gold he could ever ask for, he wanted more. He was greedy. Yes, that's right. That means he was never satisfied. So the little tailor man, he was a bragging man and he was a lying man. And then the king was a greedy man. And then what about our little friend, Rumpelstiltskin? What kind of person was he? Was he helpful? Yeah, he was. Because the daughter would have lost, she would have never been able to see her dad again, the tailor, if she didn't spin the straw into gold like he promised that she could. So Rumpelstiltskin did help her, but he always wanted something in return. Do you remember the things that he took from her? First, he took her necklace. Remember? Remember it was blue and it matched her dress? And then next, what did he take from her? I'll give you a hint. It was gold and it was on her finger. Yep, he took her ring. So he took her necklace, he took her ring, and then last, she said, I have nothing left to give you. And he asked for her baby, her first child when she became queen, because he would get the namesake, right, of the queen. Wow. But the woman in the story, the queen, she was patient and she was kind. And then she fought back at the end, didn't she? Which is good. So she was brave. She was going to lose her baby. So she sent her servants out and she made lists of all the names in the kingdom because she wasn't going to lose her baby. Right? Yeah. All right. Good job, guys. Thank you for reading the story with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Rumpelstiltskin. And I hope that you can take some of the lessons that we learned today and use it in the future. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me. We will be back on today again at 10:30. And then I think we're going to be back a little bit different today. It might be at 1 o'clock today. So 10:30 and 1 o'clock, we'll have 2 more stories for you and activities. So be sure to come back on and subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications when we go live. All right, guys, see you all in just a little bit. Bye.